On today's Minute of the Apes, who knows every odd thing about odd everything? Sean Jackson.
Take your stinking paws off me, you damn dirty ape!
The divine bomb.
Well, I will not human is a dead human! There is fire, there is smoke.
The minute of the apes. The minute of the apes. The minute of the apes. The minute of the apes.
Hello and welcome to Minute of the Apes, the daily podcast where we break down every minute of the Planet of the Apes movies, 1 minute at a time. I'm Todd, that was Richard, and Mr. Know Everything About Everything That's Ever Been Created and also then some. Sean, how are you?
I'm okay. I don't know what y'all are talking about. I know a little bit about everything, not everything about everything.
I don't know where...
You know all the odd and weird things. Like, hey, here's a weird fact for you.
All the unimportant things.
Right.
That is
Well,
in my head.
Yeah, I'll just say odd.
So I have a former employee that calls, her nickname for me is Patches, and I've become her mentor. And the reason that she calls me that is she thinks the same about me. She's like, you know a little bit about everything. I'm like, you've never met my friend Sean. And it's so funny when you said that, Richard. I was thinking, I got to call Amanda and say, trust me, you don't know Sean. If you knew Sean, you'd never call me that. Did something happen that brought that up in your mind?
No, I mean it's a line in the minute ahead.
All right.
Okay.
So
Oh, is he
Sean,
our Virgil?
Sean is our Virgil.
Oh, you're Virgil.
Yeah.
All right, so
Here's some dude for me saying, "Hey, Sean does everything." Like, sure.
and the minute's not queuing. There it is. So let's go ahead
All
and
right.
say this. Sean, tell us what's going on with minute 20.
All right, we start minute 20 with McDonald saying the city is radioactive and ends with Lisa asking Caesar to say goodbye to Cornelius.
All right, here it comes. Minute 20. Battle for the Planet of the Apes.
City's radioactive.
Oh, yeah, well, let me see. Who is there among your people who knows something about radioactivity?
No one.
And among mine?
Who knows everything about everything?
Oh, Virgil. Go and find him. Lisa, you remember your parents? I was too young when they died to remember mine.
Well, I don't want to have to remember my husband. I want to love him now.
No. Virgil will be with us. Now we'll take good care.
Say goodbye to Cornelius. I don't want him to know I'm afraid.
As minute 20, we have a village worth of apes and humans.
All right. This moment has probably one of my least favorite type constructions, which is a moment to me that fits more into sitcoms. Who do we know about this? What about that? What about that? And the audience the entire time is going, Virgil, 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 Virgil. Oh, Virgil. I just don't like that.
Why did Caesar get stupid all of a sudden? Like, it doesn't make any sense for him to be the one asking the questions. Like, he doesn't know anything about this.
He should be the one that simply comes and goes, that's not an issue. You understand, of course. And he's like, well, no, why? He's like, we have the secret weapon, Virgil. Something like, it's like,
Right.
Virgil will find a way. Let's ask him. Let's bring him, and we can trust him. It's so silly.
I'm also annoyed by, again, the McDonald's emotions of this week have been, and in delivery, have been all over the place. Suddenly he's like silly and frivolous and like, who knows everything about everything? Like and it's, I'm sure it's the directing more than anything else, but he goes to being playful when, Wednesday he was confrontational. He's all over the place. I'll give Caesar a little bit of back and forth because he's becoming childlike relating to his parents and then getting excited about doing this journey. I can give him some play, but McDonald is just, he's all over the place.
I agree. And I think that one of the things that jars me about the all over the place is that if he's going to be the insightful person that understands about these tapes, if he's going to be the insightful person that understands that these prospective tapes could change Caesar's opinion, if he's going to be the insightful person that understands it's radioactive, he needs to actually escalate that to, there's only one problem. After the blast, I fear that this area is highly radiated. That's how it should be stated.
You mean after the 10 megaton overblast? You think it might be radioactive?
It's just so weird to. There is radioactive. Boom. I don't know.
Well, we would need to know. The the idea that the city is radioactive is great, but that could have easily been established by the fact that they're living in the forest right now. Right, we didn't need.
That's why they're not so close. Yeah,
right. They could have set up why they live where they live and not in the dead city earlier, or even just a simple reminder from McDonald. But we've got to find a way into the dead city. We had to escape the radioactivity.
There you go.
Something,
because it should actually after McDonald tells him it's in the dead city. That's when Caesar should say, "But McDonald, that radio has been so radioactive that we haven't been able to go back for years. That we established this village here. There should be a conversation that back and forth that is informative to us, but it's, and then they bring up Virgil. It is what it is. I'm excited about the dead city, but good Lord, I almost wish this was a silent movie so they'd quit talking.
Nah. So I don't know if you've noticed, but okay, so we have Caesar, and we obviously know that's a Roman name. Cornelius, I didn't know if you knew that was a Roman name as well. It means horn. But then we've gotten Virgil, which is another Roman name. He was a Roman poet, and probably most people, if they know him, probably know him from Dante's Inferno, where he was a guide taking Dante through hell. So I wonder, is this Virgil going to either go with them or give them the information that leads them through a hellish place?
I don't doubt that was the reason for the choice, and because of that, I like that. I mean,
and McDonald is leading to a great franchise of burgers and Playland. That's a lot of fun.
And farm.
Exactly. And
E-I-E-I-O.
Well, the minute doesn't really have a lot for us to unpack because we get this succession of let's get to Virgil, and then we get Lisa talking, Caesar saying, "You remember your parents? I don't want to remember my husband. I don't want our son to see us afraid." There's not a lot.
I mean, yeah, Lisa kind of put Caesar in the grave right there, didn't she? She's not expecting him to come back if he goes.
Yeah, that's a good point, because what you almost kind of wish she would have asked was, is there really something that you need to see so desperately that you'd risk taking your son's father away? Ask that kind of question, and then then that can be where Caesar says, that's why you should say, you knew your parents, I didn't know mine.
Yeah, it's a past so important to you that you'd sacrifice your future.
There's something I was kind of confused about, that you remember your parents, I was too young when they died to remember them. And I'm trying to imagine how Lisa got from Africa, I assume, to become a slave in the modern city. And she was probably separated from her parents as well.
Yeah, because we see apes being shipped in. So how many were born in America versus being shipped in? Yeah. Right.
So there's this, you remember your parents. It almost sounds like she had a loving experience with her parents. And I can't imagine any of these from the last film.
That's a great point.
Having
happy childhood or time with their parents without having been taken away at some point, taken away at 12, taken away at 9, taken away at 15, taken away at 20, taken away as an adult, maybe taken away as an adult. Like, it's a weird, you remember your parents. And for me, I would I don't have.
Well, I mean, we also saw in the past movie, they had like those breeding chambers and everything. They might have had a baby and then it was taken away right then as soon as it stopped nursing. I don't know.
But this could have been a great conversation for Caesar to have. Lisa, how many of our kind even ever knew their parents?
Right. That'd even be more interesting, more convincing, more compelling for her to want him to go on this journey.
Right. She would understand the point. You yourself were created in the breeding chambers. You didn't know a parent. You never knew the embrace. I have an opportunity to at least hear my mother's voice, hear my father's wisdom, things like that. I mean, then that at that point now, what's she going to say? No, screw you, honey. You got to stay here. She would understand. They share the plight now.
And I would have appreciated a little bit more about the fact that she doesn't want Cornelius to become an orphan either. Like,
Right.
I would have liked a little more emotion in the loss of the journey. Clearly, she's sad to see him go, and she wants him to say goodbye because she can't tell him because she doesn't want to reveal her fear. There's some really good potential in this moment between the two of them that is lost. I didn't need the stuff with we could have cut out the Virgil comedy bit and brought more emotion to why this is important to him and why she knows her journey, but her concern about her own son becoming an orphan. It'd be so cool to see that moment.
I agree. I think that if you had done this kind of thing where, you didn't know your parents, and then she comes back, but you're risking taking away your son's father.
Right. I think
this would have been heavily weighted, and we would not only understand her reason for ultimately being okay, go, but we would also understand the peril that he's in by going there and what he's risking to go find that out.
And I think if we, again, I'll keep back to this idea that it was kind of written to be more of a kid's movie. There's a lot of lesson and a lot of meaning for that for kids to be able to kind of follow and move through. Not just adults. It'd be powerful for adults, but for kids to understand what all this journey is and what it means. I think it'd be a pretty good lesson, pretty good heartfelt moment to go take them to.
I think so too. I think these kind of movies, you don't really understand it when you're a kid, the lesson that you're being taught that your parents often give up a lot to give you everything that you have. Things that I didn't completely understand until I had a child of my own. You begin to realize, hey, my life is now giving her what she needs. And I think that could have also, when we see what eventually becomes the story for Cornelius as well, it might weigh on him too. That might make that deeper. And I know Sean doesn't even know where that's going yet, but
nope.
There are a lot of choices here that are very obvious just to set up that Lisa knows he's going. That's it. And I don't want our son to see me afraid, which I don't know. I also have a problem with that because as a parent, if I'm ever afraid, I'll be very honest with my daughter. I'm not going to go, I'm petrified, I want you to be scared, but I am concerned about this.
There's a lot we lose in the simplicity of the dialogue, both with McDonald and Cornelius, and again Caesar and McDonald, and then again with Caesar with Lisa. That just doesn't. It's silly. It's frivolous. It's simple. It's very, very simple, and I wish there was more weight to this.
I've tried to find how many drafts there were of the screenplay. I know that Dane did his own pass at a very different perspective, and then this husband-wife team came in and took it over. This feels to me almost like a first or second draft where they've not given the deep thinking to what they need to put into it. And again, they may not have had the time to do that, but boy, it is begging to be dived into a little bit deeper. Sean, are you okay?
Yeah, no, sorry. I'm reaching, my cord got caught in my zipper on my hoodie.
I'm just worrying because I'm seeing my friend gesticulate all over the place, and I was like, oh shit, I hope he's okay. There's not a lot here to unpack in this minute. I don't think that we have much deeper to go into that. Sean, do you have anything else?
No, that's it for me.
Well, then let's call it and let's get to In Between for the week. We will be back next week, of course, with 5 more minutes of this movie until we're at the end. That's how this whole thing works, 1 minute at a time.
We're working through it.
We'll be back tomorrow with another In Between, which I think we're going to kind of talk about the struggles that we've been through over the past few weeks to keep going in this, and maybe sharing some things that we've done to make the time pass. So everyone have a great day.
Bye.
Bye, everybody.
The minute of the age.